Welcome to the Reinvented Life with Pamela Chanel David. Do you want to step up your game? Pursue your dreams. Be the best version of yourself. The Reinvented Life is here to help. The Reinvented Life is about courage. It's about staying relevant. It takes grit. It defies gravity. It's about taking inventory of where you are today and where you want to go. Embrace change. Make things possible and reinvent your life. Call in with questions at 888-994-4995. Now, it's time to reinvent your life with Pamela Chanel.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Reinvented Life. Boy, do we have a show to bring you today. This show has been probably 3 to 4 years now. I have lost track in the making, and it is a preview of what is literally being born as we speak, which is the Reinvented Life Network. We started with a show several years ago, right around the pandemic. And here we are, a couple hundred shows likely into the Reinvented Life, and we're expanding. And that's what the Reinvented Life is really, truly all about. What would you, as a listener and a viewer, love to reinvent in your life, expand in your life, and become more vital and more thriving in your life and in your business? Today, we have 3 guests on the show that are each introducing their own show onto the network within the next couple of weeks. And I just thought it would be fun for you to meet some of the people so behind the Reinvented Life, so involved with the transformation of what we've done, and so inspiring for you to hear from people from all different parts of the U.S. making a difference, inspiring people in what they do, and most importantly, in who they are. So let's bring everyone on. I'm excited to have this conversation with all of you and introduce for the first time the Reinvented Life Network. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. Here we are. So I'm going to just say each one of your names, and then we'll have you each introduce yourself, because people want to know the faces and the names and the voices of who's really been such a big part of the Reinvented Life Network and what you're bringing forward in your own shows. So I'm going to start by introducing Tim Hotchkiss. He comes to us from Ohio. Tim is an attorney. He is a creator. He is a motivator, the likes of which no one's ever seen. And really motivates me and inspires me from the day we met, which is, I've lost a little track of time, but I want to say it's at least 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Extraordinary work. And I'm very excited to bring the show Your Disbelief is Your Success forward here.
Yes.
Very exciting. He'll tell the origins of it, and just the notion that our disbeliefs are really where we go and find success. So extremely excited about that. Also want to introduce you to Jennifer Corbin Carson. She is right outside of Atlanta, Georgia. There you are. An extraordinary, not just person, but entrepreneur, and is a U.S. disabled vet. And this drives a lot of her passion for what she does. I can't wait for you to hear her story. Not only, again, we're going to see a theme here, is she one of the most creative people that I have met, but her story is so touching and touches so many lives, and I cannot wait for the show Beach Jam podcast.
Yay!
And wait till you see up on the beach. So welcome, Jennifer, to the Reinvented Life Network. And we also have on here today, there's another theme, another extraordinary individual, Sue Kostick. She is in Phoenix, Arizona. She is an integrative health practitioner, but she is a high performance coach. I mean, this lady, she is bringing a show to this network. I cannot wait. And it is called Hello, Your Health is Calling. So welcome, Sue. Welcome, everyone, to really the debut and the preview of an entire network where we are going to be having shows through the Reinvented Life Network. It'll be likely almost every day of the week. So this is something we're really excited about, and thank you for all that are listening and viewing and being with us for the first time. So, Tim, let's start with you. Give us a little 411 about you and the transformation, I guess, would be a great way to share for people that all is possible.
Yeah, in addition to all those illuminating adjectives that you said about me, a motivator, somebody that inspires, somebody that has an impact. I was also the dictionary definition of an introvert. I was locked away in the corner, just living kind of as a transparent person, feeling as though they couldn't have any real transfer of energy to another person, couldn't impact another person. My thoughts, opinions, and beliefs just didn't matter. And so I carried that with me for so long. And you mentioned, like, we've known each other for about 5 years. That's when this kind of genesis of me letting that baggage go, and then just really starting to love myself and realize, I have value. I'm kind of great and don't know it. And I just started to, own my space. And like I said, love myself. And that really started to open up the world to me and gave me opportunities of meeting people and forming relationships, not only personally, but professionally as well. So I would say since I've met you, life has really started to become fun for me. This world is my playground. And so the Tim that you're seeing show up here is so far removed from that scared and afraid person that just didn't think he had any value. So change is possible. I love, the Reinvented Life is all about shifting, pivoting, reinvention. Of course, I love that because I totally and wholly believe that. I've seen it in myself. I've seen it in you to some extent. You are far ahead of me, but change is possible. So that gets me so excited. I'm so incredibly happy to be part of you and this network and the Reinvented Life.
Well, thank you for being here. You're a constant contribution to what we're doing here. On a good day, I'm going to show someone a picture of you in your three-piece camel corporate suit, and they will not believe transformation.
Yeah. That was me trying to fit in. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's going to be a theme that we hear is, do we want to fit in or do we want to go out and really make a difference? So I'm sure that's going to be a theme of what this network is all about. And Atlanta, Georgia, right outside of it, Jennifer is coming to us. Not as early as it is in California, but late morning nonetheless. And again, a person that just I'm awe-inspired by. And the friendship and the professional relationship we've developed over the last, again, almost four years or so, is pretty extraordinary as well. In fact, we met, it's been just 4 years, so we met just before the pandemic in February of 2020 at a conference in Naples, Florida. So welcome, Jennifer. Share a little bit about yourself and where your transformation has been.
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction. So much like Tim, I actually started in the Navy. So I did 13 years in the Navy and then 13 years in corporate America. 13 seems to be my lucky number, so we'll go with that. But since moving to Georgia, I couldn't find a job that I was used to, a government contracting job. And so that was my little push to say, okay, I just can't sit around watching soap operas all day. And what can I do? And that was my little push to be an entrepreneur. And I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So, again, reinventing myself. And, it just tumbled from there. And I went into the engraving and printing business and, started off, I made a couple pieces for Chanel. I call her Chanel. But I made a few pieces for her. And so right now, I'm a mom, I'm a grandma, I'm a homeschooling mom, I'm a coach. It's kind of evolved. My life has evolved the last few years to where I can make a difference and where God is calling me. So, and when we started talking, when Chanel and I started talking about doing a podcast, I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. So, I'm excited to start, exploding the network with both of you or all three of you and seeing where it takes us. Always reinventing, seeing where we go from here.
Always reinventing. And I'd be remiss, really, with 13 years of service, to thank you because, and we will learn more about it as this unfolds, but 13 years of service in the Navy is quite extraordinary. And with your permission, you really are very proud of your service, but you also are proud that at this point, due to service, you're also a disabled veteran. And so
Yes.
I believe that it is incumbent on all of us to really be in constant gratitude for those that have served to the level you have. And I really want to thank you. And I'm excited, I'm continually excited to learn more of the impact that has made on you, but how it has led you to inspiration and some of the wonderful things that you're out there doing still in great service. So thank you, Jennifer. And Phoenix, Arizona, we have Sue Kostick, a high performance health coach, someone that will push the envelope in terms of health. Thinks out of the box, is non-traditional, also mirrors all of us on here with a great corporate background and has really embraced this notion of entrepreneurship. So to the network and hello, your health is calling.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Pamela. I am so honored to be here with everybody. My story is very similar to everyone. I spent probably a little over 30 years in corporate America. I was a global event planner. I traveled around the world making very beautiful events for a company that people went to but didn't really care about what was going on in the background. But I started to get restless in that, and I didn't really understand the nudges that God was giving me until my daughter, she was diagnosed with leukemia. And it wasn't that was the thing that said, oh, you're wasting your life, you've got to stop. It was actually the consequences of her health diagnosis on my health. And going through that walk with her and the stress that it created on my body. And 3 years later, I am in a serious health crisis. So, long story short, I just figured things out and decided that I wanted to go more of a natural health path for myself, and also helping my daughter overcome a lot of the after effects that the life-saving treatments created on her body, which weren't so great either. So I found integrative health, and that's the rest is history. I'm here where I'm at. I quit corporate America. I decided that one of the things that Tim, you said, I am great and I don't know it. It's literally, you can be healthy, but you don't know it.
Mhm.
I love what you said about that, because you don't know what you don't know. And I truly believe that that's the path that I'm being called to, is letting people know that they can be healthy. And it's literally not hard. People try to think that it's hard, but it's not. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to help people understand about health, understand that you cannot step into your calling if you are not healthy. It's just such a passion for me. And I truly believe that the people that are being brought to me are ones that have a calling, a higher calling, and they're not able to walk in it because they're not healthy. And it's an honor and a pleasure to work with people like that.
Well, I love this notion of your health is calling, because I know each one of you individually, including myself, we have all gone through, continue to go through different ailments, different health crises, different suggested, and I'm saying that very strongly, suggested health crises that we've all had to mitigate through and mine through and advocate ourselves through a system to find out actually what is the real root of the problems that are we're having, so that we can thrive, so that we don't define ourselves by what's wrong and what's missing and what's not working, but we can take all of that, turn it around, and really reinvent a life for ourselves and those of us with children that have also experienced different conditions, that's meaningful, that's inspirational, and not let anything set us back. And so, Sue, I want to touch right out of the gate on some of the tools that you have in that backpack of yours, so to speak, that help people identify what's really at the core of what's going on with them. Because oftentimes we're suggested something that's going on with us that isn't even the case. And I can speak, I know, for Tim, which put your thinking cap on, which doesn't take long for you, because I'm going to call on you next for your experience with this. But Sue, what types of tools? Because some people are very familiar with functional medicine or integrative practitioner, and some aren't. So describe a little bit how you start that process with people.
That's a great question. And the answer is we go for root cause. And my backpack is full of tools to get to the root cause. And primarily, we use functional level lab testing. And lab work doesn't lie. And that's why I love the very first step I do with people is we run functional lab tests, because they dig super deep, and blood doesn't lie. It's really, people want answers, and the best way to get answers is to test yourself. And these functional lab tests are amazing. They're sent straight to your home. You do them at home, you send them into the lab. It's a very easy process. and it'll tell you exactly what the root cause of what is going on in your body, whether it is food sensitivities, whether it's your hormones, whether it's your stress level, your level of inflammation. We have really about 5 major lab tests that I love to do. It 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 takes out guessing. And I feel like that's kind of where conventional medicine, it's a practice. And so it's the process of elimination and like, well, if this doesn't work, then let's try this. But with functional lab testing, we can know exactly where we want to attack first. And then we know if we need to attack a second place. So that's my major tool. We do functional detoxes. We live in such a toxic environment anymore. Our food sources, our air, our clothes, the way things are manufactured. So my clients go through a functional medicine detox just so we can get your body to a point where we're kind of on a fair playing game or playing field, and get you to a point where you're being flooded with nutrition, as well as using just traditional Chinese medicine herbs, Ayurvedic supplements, just to kind of pull those toxins out of your body. So those are really my 2 primary go-tos. And and of course nutrition. It's all about what we put in our body. It's not necessarily you are what you eat, it's you are what you eat, what you eat eats. So
Yeah.
That's so true. So true. And Tim, I know you've had your share of different explorations on your own health.
Yes, it's great to hear what Sue is saying. We need more people like Sue out there educating individuals, because, we don't know what we don't know. We think when we go to the doctor has the full scope of knowledge and wisdom, and they're going to make us better. My experience, very rarely does that happen. For me, I had to take personal ownership of my health, do my own investigation, and then in consultation with the doctor, that yields a more robust treatment program, one that actually yields results. And, like I was saying, this genesis for me, kind of unlocking myself from this introverted existence, it coincided with meeting a functional medicine doctor, where we did do that deep dive, doing blood testing and seeing where, the different biological markers were, hormones, vitamin D3 here in Ohio. We're walking around in gray weather all the time. People think vitamin D3 is a vitamin. It's actually a hormone. It's called the happy hormone or the sunshine hormone, whatever you want to call it. That's going to impact your mood. So there are all these things that I was just struggling to kind of like, why when I go into a doctor and I'm complaining about low energy, are they wanting to immediately say, you know what, I put a lot of my other patients on antidepressants, and I'm like, a red flag, oh my gosh, and luckily I had known other people in my life who had gone down that route, and I knew that was not an approach that I was going to take. Left that doctor, and that put me on the journey to find somebody that really understands the male physiology, the biology, and what's going on. And that's where we did the blood testing. And I don't understand why doctors don't start there from the beginning, because it is so powerful. It is so illuminating. And, it just gives you that picture of what's going on. So yeah, it's brought me to the here and now. I'm definitely an advocate for, taking personal ownership of your health and finding a doctor that listens to you, does not dismiss you, and does, performs these more in-depth analyses of especially the blood to give you a picture of what's going on, instead of just making kind of knee-jerk assumptions, and then putting you on a course of testing that really is irrelevant. I did 3 sleep studies thinking I had sleep apnea, and I didn't. I had magnesium deficiency, and thyroid was off. Thyroid levels were off. It wasn't anything to do with sleep studies. So if we would have just started there, it would have been a lot more effective. but these doctors will keep you running in circles and back and forth to doctor's visits, all day long. And it's just such a waste of time, money, and effort. So I'm really thankful that, Sue, you're out there advocating for that type of healthcare.
And again, I love it because Hello, Your Health is calling. I think every single, certainly one of us, but everyone out there can relate to that. It's constantly calling. And what can we do to, Tim, I love it, take that personal responsibility for what's going on. Perfectly.
Because we're always under assault. We're always under assault. So we always have to be reinventing not only, our personality or our attitudes, but our mindset for how we process information and how we kind of advocate for ourselves. So yes.
Absolutely. And speaking of advocating and speaking of challenging health issues, Jennifer, share a little bit about this because this applies, I know, to you in your own life.
It does. It does. So Sue, I'm so glad that you are doing this as well, because I totally agree that, doctors do practice medicine, but they are limited to what they're taught in school. And they don't have that broader sense of, hey, maybe something else is going on, like Tim was saying. So I have a few autoimmune diseases, and some of them I don't have the genetic traits for, and the doctors just go, okay. So the autoimmune is the biggest thing for me. And I did find, when we lived in Colorado, I did find a functional medicine doctor that helped me. And the problem was there's no maintenance to keep you going. There's just here's what's wrong with you. Here's what to do. See you later. Oh, by the way, here's your bill. Right. So, there's no maintenance. And I felt the best I've ever felt. And I don't agree with, like what Tim was saying, I don't agree with the first thing that they do is here's a pill for your symptoms. We're like Sue was saying, we're not getting at the root cause, but here's a Band-Aid, here's a Band-Aid fix for your problem. That's great until it doesn't work anymore. So, you continue to live with it, and it's, in my case, it can be debilitating at times. I have, chronic pain and fatigue, and so that's all part of me reinventing myself as well, because I see what's coming down the road, and I can't do work like I could even 3 or 4 years ago. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, now's the time to figure into the next phase to where, I can't do as much physical work, but let me figure out how I can still fulfill, my higher purpose and still feel good about what I'm doing. And not have to wake up, and say, I don't feel like doing this today. So that's all part of the reinvention too, those transitions in life, whether it be medical or just a personal feeling or a higher, God's calling, hello, but it's just yes. So the medical, for me, the reinventing for me has been mostly, the most percentage in that is for my medical reasons and how my body is feeling. So I know a lot of people are out there doing, feeling the same way. Oh, I can't go to work. I can't do this, but what can you do? That's not the question.
Right.
What can you do? What are you interested in? So I'll digress, but
Well, I will say if I was excited about this network before and what I've been visualizing, I'm even more excited about it now because, the theme here, and there's so many themes that are running through it, but this is about everyday issues that everyone's faces and how do we do it and stay at the point that we're still contributing to life and inspiring others to thrive and not just survive. And so much of that has to do with, again, and Tim mentioned this, not just our physical health, but our mindset, our mental health, our emotional health, our spiritual health. It all has to be rocking and rolling together. And that's what excites me about each and every one of these shows. Listeners are going to be able to tune in, or if they're watching it live stream, watch what are people out there doing with their challenges that, for lack of any other term, they're making the lemonade out when lemons come in life. So this excites me, and at the core of it, it's all about the love that we have for ourselves first and for each other, and just learning that lesson of having the confidence to love ourselves first and bring the best forward of each of us is what this Reinvented Life Network is going to be all about, and what we can do as a network, as a collective, to inspire people out there. Loving ourselves is having the highest level, and I love repeating it, of personal justice. And by that, I mean, how are we most justly treating ourselves? And there's been a journey of that evolution for each one of us on the show. And I know that there's an evolution of people listening. So we're not going to be able to talk all day. We're going to be wrapping up soon, but I would love each one of you to really talk with, and again, we'll start with Tim, but where are there places in your life that you've adopted your own personal justice, that you've made a decision or had, I should say, an aha moment of treating yourself in a better way starts that momentum in your own life? Let's start with Tim.
Well, I think it starts with saying no and me stopping being a people pleaser and starting to put myself first instead of trying to derive my value, my self-worth from how I made other people feel in terms of most of this is in terms of work. I would be a people pleaser at work and being able to meet deadlines, to complete complex projects timely. And I might not even get any gratitude back, but I know that I completed it and I know I didn't get any negative criticism. So that was a positive thing for me, but it fed this beast like that was never satiated. That's where I was putting my self-worth, instead of really saying, you know what, I have this great personality. If I just got some confidence, started loving myself and just cared less about people's judgments or criticism about me, wow, life would be so much more fulfilling than me trying to like get all of this adulation to kind of fill me up with all these work projects. So saying no and me stop being a people pleaser so much, I think was a big shift for me. And the power of saying no is like, it cannot be understated. I work from home exclusively. I'm the only attorney out of 70, 80 attorneys at our firm that does that. It's because I couldn't see any other way. After having done it a little bit for the pandemic, the quality of life, with all the stress, and it can't be understated how stress can absolutely damage your health. I mean, I think at the forefront of everything that's going on out there, stress is so insidious and so devastatingly damaging. that if we don't have any balance, and it will destroy you. So I was kind of on the precipice of that, me and my energy and thyroid and magnesium and all that. But I had to take back some of my life, and that was working from home. So that brings me a little bit of homeostasis. And that was me telling the firm, no, I'm not going to be coming back to my office. So I don't even have an office, a dedicated office anymore with the firm. So that's how I coexist with them. And that's how that's how I have personal justice for myself, is standing up for myself, saying no when I need to. So yeah.
And I've noticed, here you're talking about a firm of 70 or 80 attorneys. You're a patent, copyright, and trademark attorney. That the attention to detail and the level of stress that you and I have talked about that can hold is amazing. So what I love is that you've decided and you've made that decision that you are no longer going to live within the limitations or within what the mandates are. You do profound work. I'm well aware of the quality of work you do, but this allows you to be who you really are, which is a creative and inspiring people to really live.
Right. And it makes me more productive. I'm more productive this way too. So, it can't be understated that, maybe it's not for everybody. But for me, I'd much rather be out here in outer space working on my computer than being in a four-wall kind of prison cell, at work. So, So saying no, the power of saying no, and really standing up for my beliefs and opinions and thoughts has been a pivotal moment for me, my growth.
Beautiful. And Sue, where have you seen this notion of personal justice and love for yourself start to shine through in your own life?
Well, I have a lot to say about this. I was just like Tim, I was in corporate America. I was traveling to wonderful places and not experiencing them because I was shut in a conference center for the entire time, putting together these meetings and conferences. And the stress, and I could build a whole practice around stress and the effects of stress. That is going to be, I guarantee you, noted by the medical community as a number one killer. Because if we cannot start to manage our stress, then we're not going to exist. Because your body will rob Peter to pay Paul till Peter has nothing left. And I think that really following your heart and your gut and knowing what you want to do and what you want to be. And, society tells us you graduate high school, you graduate college, you get married, you have children, and then you die. It's like, it's such a injustice what we do to our children, that they need to lead this life. And if I could give my children, I have 4 amazing daughters, if I could leave them with one thing, it's like, no, do not follow what society says at all. And, as far as loving yourself, it's paying attention to yourself. It's paying attention to those little signs and hints and nudges. I didn't pay attention. I love the analogy of the check engine light on your car, because we have our own. We have our mental, we have our physical, and we have our spiritual. And, we ignore the check engine in our car, and what happens? It's going to break. It's going to die eventually. And the same thing in our own personal lives. If we keep ignoring that check engine light, because it will go from yellow to orange to red, and if we don't start paying attention to those things, that is the biggest disservice and the lack of love for ourselves that we could have. So I'm just saying, pay attention. And that's where I have a lot of people coming to me with their health issues. And 3 months down the road, they're like, why didn't I come sooner? Why didn't I pay attention sooner? Because literally it's like one or two things that you just need to tweak and adjust, and then you move on. And, it's just pay attention, don't be so busy that you can't pay attention to your own self. And, I've been talking to every age category. It doesn't matter if you're 18 or if you're 88. It's like there is something you can be paying attention to. So
Beautiful.
I could go on.
Beautiful. I think we all could, and that's why we all are going to have these shows, because we're going to bring these topics forward. We're going to have people writing in, calling in, having discussions about relevant, real issues today.
Yeah.
And that's the expansion of the Reinvented Life. It is, how do we do this exponentially so we can get some people relief, so that we can show them some new paths, so that we can have some very frank discussions and be a model for and an inspiration for life and what people are going through. I'm excited. My vision is getting bigger by the second. Jennifer, for you, what's one part of your life, and I know there are so many, that you've really exhibited learning about loving yourself and being more just to yourself and to your family and to your world?
I'm gonna cry. Yeah, for me, it's about letting go of my own stigmas. Like, one is my perfectionism, right? And really, COVID helped me with this. Just taking a step back and saying, okay, what do I want? How do I need to get there? And letting go of some of, for example, my perfectionism, right? So, I'm a creator. I am actively creating things, from scratch. And, Chanel calls me an artist. Well, okay, I'm getting there, but I wouldn't necessarily say I'm an artist, but not yet, at least, right? So, but that's one of my things that I have to let go, right? My own self-doubt, right? But first was perfectionism, and really COVID, that step back, helped me realize that, hey, it's not all about, you're the only one that is going to notice that, and so it really helped me to let go. Being an entrepreneur in what I do, it really help me let go of that. And really, the other thing is my relationship with God has grown. And it's not necessarily religion. It's two different things. So, your relationship with God tends to help you listen to him and where he wants you to go and what his plan is for you. So that's really grown over the last 4 years. Imagine that, Chanel. And so it's right. So it's really those two things for me that at this moment that has grown over the last 4 years, and I continually want to grow them. Letting go of stuff feels great when it actually happens, right? But a lot of times you don't know how to do it. Where do I start? How do I do this? I think I can speak for the rest of us, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we have figured it out, and I think that's part of our service to our fellow man, is that, here, this is what I've learned, and this is a stepping stone for you to say, I can do this, let us help you, right? And because our experiences have crafted us, right? And our personalities. And I think we all have that questioning mind, right? We all start to ask questions of ourselves. And I think that's the biggest thing. And if we can help other people do that and start questioning along, having that stepping stone, right? To say, what can I do about this?
Well, I cannot begin to thank everyone for this very unscripted, unplanned conversation, but the synergy, there is no surprise at all. And whether it is dealing with issues that plague all of us, what we have in common is none of us have let those things any longer stop them in life, but rather propel us all forward. And it's getting rid of some of the limitations. It's questioning, as you just pointed out, Jennifer, which is really at the root of the disbelief is your success show. It's really questioning, what are the things we haven't believed possible for so long? And what are the things that we haven't done because we've shied away from? And that actually the irony is that is where the success lies. Or questioning that trip to the doctor, that traditional trip that everyone makes and has, and asking ourselves, is there something else that's greater in terms of helping us move forward? So that's a peek for people that are listening, people that are viewing this. Thank you for sharing this moment with us in the Reinvented Life Network. More to come, great topics. Thank you all. Thank you in Ohio and in Georgia and in Arizona and myself in California for coming together and sharing the message of what the Reinvented Life Network is going to be all about. We're going to have more shows that we're going to bring forward, and really people will be able to tune in. I'm thinking almost every day of the week. So thank you all again. Have a wonderful day. Thank you to all of you. And we just look forward to more reinventing, more prosperity, and more not just surviving, but thriving with all of you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for tuning in to The Reinvented Life with Pamela Chanel David. Tune in each week so we can work and grow together to become the best version of ourselves. Keep striving, keep dreaming, keep working, and embrace change. You may contact Pamela Chanel at info@thereinventedlife.com.